Are you ready for another Costco Kirkland Signature Wine Challenge, Carmela?
Always.
Well, this is going to be a good one because we're going to pair their 2022 Napa Valley Red Blend with other Bordeaux-style blends. And we're going to talk about what's different about Napa Valley and Bordeaux.
Okay.
Is that fun or what?
That's amazing.
Hello, and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of reasonably priced wine. And this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair. So if you're new to the podcast, here's a quick orientation. Each week we explore a different wine varietal or blend like Pinot Noir or Grüne Veltliner or Bordeaux-style blends and dive into what makes them unique, special, and worth learning about. And our goal, this is our goal, it's to help you expand your wine knowledge in a fun way that normal people, regular everyday people can understand.
Right. We're those kind of people.
We are, and we also taste and review 2 to 3 wines under $20 each, and then we share our scores and recommendations with you to help you find great wines without breaking the bank. We want to thank you for joining us, and we're proud to say that Decanter Magazine calls us fun, irreverent,
chatty,
and entertaining. So, Carmela, we are back once again to one of our best beloved and most searched episodes if you go to the Google machine. That's right. And they are the Costco Kirkland Signature Challenges. And in those, we choose a Kirkland Signature wine from Costco, and we taste it, and we review it, and then we compare it to other similar and similarly priced wines and see who wins.
Nice.
It's a battle.
Wow, the battle of the
bottles. The battle of the bottles.
I was trying to come up with something.
I said it. Battle of the bottles. And
it
this time it's the battle
script.
of... You're right. And also the battle of the Bordeaux-style blends.
Right. I couldn't spit that out. But that's what I was thinking.
And so what's extra fun about this is, again, we're doing kind of a Bordeaux bargain episode as well.
Oh.
Because this Costco Napa Valley Red Blend that we're drinking is a Bordeaux-style blend.
And it's $7.99.
A little bit more than that. And we're also comparing it to 2 other Bordeaux-style blends that are reasonably priced. So in a way, you're getting a twofer. You're getting a twofer.
Maybe a threefer.
Maybe, but a Bordeaux bargain episode and a Costco Kirkland Wine Challenge episode.
Right. And we have 3 bottles of wine, so it could be a threefer.
2 plus 2 plus 3 is like 7.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
Have you been drinking?
Maybe. Okay, in a few minutes, Carmela, speaking of drinking, we're going to drink. We're going to do this comparison between Napa Valley and Bordeaux as well to see what the similarities and differences are. After all, because Napa Valley sort of has styled itself after Bordeaux, if you didn't know that. Mm-hmm. And it's done that in terms of focusing on grapes that are grown and made into wine from the Bordeaux region. And, of course, there is the famous or infamous Judgment of Paris.
Oh.
From 1976. I don't know if you know about this.
1976.
That's right.
I should tell you how old I was.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay.
Let's keep that a secret.
I wasn't born yet, duh.
But listen to this. In 1976, at the International Hotel in Paris, Napa Valley wines were blind tasted against red wines from Bordeaux and white wines from Burgundy, and the Napa Valley wines won.
Whoa.
And people were like, what?
Oh, no. Did
they were
go,
like,
wait,
what the F? Yeah, they did.
Did the record skip?
They went, yes. Yeah. Because at the time, Bordeaux wines were considered the top of the top of the top. Yeah. But before we go there, let's have a little refresher on Bordeaux-style blends. So a Bordeaux-style red blend refers to wines made with a blend of grape varieties traditionally used in the Bordeaux region of France, which makes sense.
Boy, I would hope so. It would be weird if it was any other way.
I agree. And the primary grapes in these blends are well known. They are Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. And then they're often supplemented with wines like Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Malbec, and sometimes Carmenère. Well, there you go. Now, here's the deal. To be called a Bordeaux wine, you have to come from
Bordeaux.
That's right. So that's why we say, if it's outside of Bordeaux, we say a Bordeaux-style blend, and those are made in places all over the world. Now, this is interesting. I didn't know this until I learned about this over the past week when I was doing research on the interwebs for this episode. But because of climate change impacts, Bordeaux producers are now allowed to include small amounts of different drought-tolerant grape varieties in their blends. This is a new thing. But
do they have to tell us?
Usually they will say, but it can't be any more than 10% of the blend. So they could put some of it in there, but they can't do a lot. But I think there's concern.
Kind of a good amount, though, 10%.
Yeah, and there is concern in some wine growing region, California, everywhere, that, with things getting hotter, it's going to get harder and harder to, make the same wines. Anyway, there's also a distinction between left bank and right bank wines in Bordeaux. We've talked about this in a mini-sode and in other episodes, but it's just for a quick primer again, it's primer, not primer. The Bordeaux region is divided into two primary areas based on what side of the river they're on, hence left bank and right bank. You can picture this
kind of
in your mind.
That.
That's right. So these are shorthand for the dominant grape varieties and wine styles each of those banks is famous for. The left bank Bordeaux features Cabernet Sauvignon dominant blends. And they're known for structure and aging potential.
Kind of the alpha male.
That's right. Kind of, exactly. Structure and aging potential, which I hope I have.
Wow.
Now, I did get a comment on Spotify that somebody said I talk about myself too much, so I'm gonna watch that.
You didn't ever share that one with me.
I know, because I was embarrassed about it. And then the right bank Bordeaux is predominantly Merlot based, and they're considered softer and rounder and more approachable wines. So left bank is Cabernet, and right bank is Merlot. In general, those are that's what they're heavy on. And so it's interesting that while Cabernet Sauvignon is often perceived as the dominant grape in Bordeaux, that's not really true. So I think if you ask somebody, like when I was starting to learn about wines and we talked about Bordeaux, I was like, oh, Cabernet, Burgundy, oh, Pinot Noir. But it's more complex than that. Merlot is actually the most widely planted grape in Bordeaux.
Oh, wow.
So I think people might be surprised, because in California, it's Cabernet is kind of the king,
right,
and everything else is second place.
King Cabernet.
Yeah, and in fact, in some places, in most places in Bordeaux, if you get a Bordeaux wine, it's a blend. There's even some places on the right bank where it's only Merlot. Like they only do Merlot. Some of the most famous Bordeaux wines are only Merlot. I'm saying Morlot, even though it's Merlot. Anyway, again,
I get it.
Again, I'm bringing this up because the Bordeaux-style blends from California tend to be very Cabernet heavy. And that's not always true in Bordeaux. So we got to know these things.
Yeah, that'll change things up.
It will. It will definitely change the structure of the wine, the taste of the wine. All those, like, again, the left bank Cabernets are Cabernet heavy ones are firmer wines, and the softer ones are the right bank Merlot based ones.
Right.
So what you really need to know, and we've talked about this before, is that there are really two dominant red blends in the world. And you need to know which is which because they are pretty different in terms of taste. So what gets confusing, I always say this, what gets confusing is you go to a store and it says a red blend, or you see it on a menu.
The blends are strange. Some people don't really care.
No, and some people don't like them.
But this is why this is important, because you might care.
You might care, and the red blends are very different from each other. So this is what's confusing: is it just may say red blend, but that's like saying red wine.
When some people will say, "I just want your blend."
Yeah, and it's like, well, what kind of blend? So the two major blends, there's the Bordeaux-style blends, which tend to be Cabernet or Merlot heavy, and then the GSM blends or Rhone-style blends, and those, the G is Grenache, the S is Syrah, and the M is Mourvedre. And so those are the two styles are Bordeaux-style blends, Cabernet or Merlot heavy, or GSM or Rhone-style blends, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. So know that. But today, we're tasting and reviewing 3 Bordeaux-style blends. Carmela's very happy we're doing 3.
I was like, wow. This is also a Thursday night for us, and we typically
she's
do
letting
a
out all of our
Friday night.
secrets. Wow. People don't need to know all that.
Well, why? Why not?
I don't know.
We're not big Thursday night drinkers. I mean, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no
Big
problem.
drinkers. Thursday's usually our day
Thursday's
off.
kind of, where you have to, take
It's
a
our
break.
day of rest.
Yeah.
Exactly. But we're going to do the Napa Valley Red Blend from Costco's Kirkland signature brand. And then we're going to do one from France, but it's not quite Bordeaux. It's kind of close to Bordeaux. And then one from here in the great state of Washington that I also found at Costco. We're going to do a battle. We're going to see, does Kirkland win? Do the others win? Yeah, we're going to throw those bottles in a ring and see what happens.
Okay.
But first,
you got to do a shameless plug.
that's right. So thank you for listening to us and for supporting our show. And if you haven't had the chance to do so yet, now would be the perfect time to follow or subscribe to our podcast. And thank you to all of you who have done that already. And another great way to support us is to leave a nice rating and review on our website or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Then people will go, hey, these guys, we should listen. You can also follow us and see pictures of the wines we're tasting and trying today and weird AI pictures I like to make at Instagram at The Wine Pair Podcast. And you can contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. And if you go there, you can sign up for our email newsletter, which you just missed. But if you email me, I will send it to you at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. I will hand send that newsletter to you. And we want to make content that you care about and you like. So send us a note and tell us what you like and what you don't like. And if there are wines you want us to try or winemaking areas of the world you're curious about, and we'll take care of it. Just like Dominic did, who left us a comment on Spotify and said he would love an episode on Chenin Blanc from South Africa. And so I've got it on the list.
Yay.
We're going to do it. We love Chenin Blanc. We actually did a Chenin Blanc in an episode before from South Africa, but we're going to do a whole episode on it. And we also got a note from Janine who said she liked the bread and butter wine episode. And I asked, hey, what do you guys, we'd love to hear from you guys. Do you think we should do more of these? Do you think they're dumb?
What'd she say?
She said she thinks that periodically doing episodes on different mass-produced wines is a good idea. She said every once in a while or something like that. I added periodically.
What? Every once in a while is way better.
It was better. Sorry, Janine. And we hope to hear from anyone out there who has thoughts on how we do the show, what we should do, all that kind of stuff. We love it. We love it, love it, love it. And as we do every week, we'll tell you someone we think you should recommend the Wine Pair Podcast to, because that's the best way for us to grow listeners. When you tell the people you love and respect about us and how much you love us.
Because we don't know them. We don't know them. It'd be hard
we
for
know
us.
you.
I mean, for sure.
We know you guys who
we get
listen.
to tune in together and hang out.
Yeah,
but
exactly. But
we don't know the people that you care about necessarily.
bring them into our family.
Right.
Bring them into our Wine Pair Podcast
Sunday night
family.
dinner.
We'll all do it together. And this week, we want you to recommend us to anyone who thinks California wines, especially California Cabernet from Napa, is the best wine in the world, because today...
Oh, I have another one.
We're putting it to the test. But go ahead.
Maybe they tell Californians.
Hey, why don't you just... What?
I mean, that's who maybe they should share the Wine Pair Podcast with.
And there's a lot of people there, so that would be good.
Oh, it'd be so awesome. But I mean, just to say, this would be an episode perhaps they would be interested in.
Yeah, I'm interested in it.
I mean, I'm not even from California, and I'm interested in it.
Me too.
I mean, hopefully not just Californians.
Oh my God, California. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm so interested.
Oh my God, Napa Valley. Okay, anyway, we're going to get to our tasting in a little bit, but what I want to do first, Carmela, is answer this question that you ask me all the time. How do Napa Valley and Bordeaux compare as wine regions?
I know. I do ask that all the time.
Right before we go to bed, she's like, oh, Joe, will you tell me that story
Why
again?
have I had to wait this long?
I don't know. But really, we asked this question.
You really do wish I would ask a question like
about wine every once in a while. I do. Yeah. Usually the only question she asks.
What do I like?
Exactly.
What should I get?
No. She literally says, what do I like?
Because I know what I like, but I just want to test if you know what I like.
Yeah, just kind of like you bought ice cream for Halloween you were doing a really nice dinner. She did a really nice dinner. And then she's like, and I bought an ice cream. It was like maple. And I'm like, I don't like maple. Okay, but we've been married for so long and you don't know that I don't like maple?
That's weird though, because see, I don't think
I
ever knew
about
that.
what I think.
Actually, that's the truth. No, because you like maple syrup. I mean, never once. We have never talked about the fact. Like, what do you like that's maple?
Have you ever seen me buy anything maple?
I mean, there's not a lot to buy. What else do you buy? Like,
okay.
Anyway,
we are really going off the rails. And that person from Spotify, she's like, stop. Okay. Anyway, there are huge fans of Napa Valley wines, and there's this result of the Judgment of Paris, and these wine regions, Bordeaux and Napa, are among the most expensive and prestigious in the world. And because the dominance of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot in the world is in large part because of these two regions. So I think it's worth talking about them and comparing them and see what's similar and what's different. So Napa Valley and Bordeaux, they both produce red blends using basically the same grape varieties. And so you would think they're going to be exactly the same wines, but you would be wrong.
Right.
So let's talk about a few reasons why.
Okay.
Few reasons why. The first is climate and terroir. Terroir is a really fancy way of saying the place where it's from.
The land.
That's right. Not just the land, because it's the climate. It's the whole. Okay. It's the whole.
But doesn't
show. Doesn't the whole kit and caboodle.
Isn't the direct translation
is probably land. Yeah. Terroir. Yeah. Okay. So Bordeaux generally has a maritime climate. So it's a little cooler. It does have sunshine, but it's more balanced and it leads to more balanced fruit and moderate ripeness. Napa Valley, California, warm, a lot more sunshine. Mediterranean is kind of what it's considered. So warmer weather, warmer climate leads to riper grapes. That means higher sugar, which means higher alcohol content. So that's one difference right there. Different climates, maritime climate versus a sunny Mediterranean climate. From a soil perspective, they both have diverse soils, but Bordeaux soils, it depends on where they are on the bank, but there's gravel and sand and clay and limestone, and they really do impact the flavor of the wine. Napa Valley also has diverse soils, but more like volcanic soils, alluvial soils, which is a fancy way of saying sedimentary soils, and maritime soils, so sandy and salty soils. So these different types of soils, one that's a little bit more gravel and clay and limestone that you're going to get in Bordeaux versus volcanic and sedimentary and salty and sandy, those are going to impact the flavor of the wine, how the grapes grow, etc. Another is in winemaking techniques. Now, this may not surprise people, but Bordeaux puts a huge emphasis on tradition. They've been making wines there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and blending is considered a very special craft there. It's passed down from generation to generation. You know, if you have a chateau, that's a big deal, right? Like your grandparents and your great grandparents, they probably done. And so the way you make the wine, it's going to be very traditional, right? It's going to be very. For sure. You don't break tradition.
Right. I wonder how many times they have when they've changed
Probably
things up.
Very little. In Napa Valley, while they're inspired by Bordeaux traditions, they're new. So they take more modern approaches, more experimental approaches to the wines. And so they may do things with different fermentation techniques, and they may do things with different blending ratios. So they're not going to be stuck on tradition. They're not going to be stuck on this is the way we've always made it, and so this is the way we've always got to make it.
Right.
So that's going to create some differences. The blending is also different. Blending in Bordeaux is actually very exact because it's actually there's a legal designation around it. The appellations or AOC regulations are super strict, and they dictate what grape varieties can be used, where they can be used, how the blending needs to work, the percentages, all that kind of stuff. So it's very precise in Bordeaux. California, loose.
Loosey-goosey.
Do whatever you want.
Sure.
This feels good. That feels good. Do whatever you want. You can still call it a Bordeaux-style blend or a Meritage or something like that if you use the same grapes, but you don't have to follow any particular sort of, by definition, they will be more Cabernet or Merlot heavy, but they can do whatever the hell they want.
What are the people of Bordeaux, do you think? What do they think of the California wines?
I think at first they were a little bit miffed. How could this upstart be as good as us? But I do think that they have come to sort of accept that this is the way that things are. And
it does draw attention to their region and their wine too, probably.
It fully does. And I think competition always makes you better, makes you work harder, makes sure you're doing a good job. Anyway, the last thing is that Bordeaux wines are known for structure, complexity, ability to age, and they sometimes are called earth in a glass. So they're a little bit different than the Napa Valley wines. The Napa Valley wines tend to be more fruit forward, what we would call punch you in the face wines, ripe tannins, emphasis on fruit flavors and ripeness. So that's different. I mean, earth in a glass, you get the sense like you're not expecting ripeness out of earth in a glass, which is what they say about Bordeaux. So California is much more fruity, fruit forward, punchy wines. So and then the question is, Carmela, which is better?
It's going to depend on your taste.
Thank you.
It can be what you like the most.
I didn't give her the show notes, but you know what? And did you know we have show notes?
No, you don't give me anything.
I told you today what we were going to do.
Yeah, but you didn't say, look at the show notes, read about this. Here's a script.
Because I don't give you the show notes.
No, I know.
That's right. But, it's a matter of opinion. It's like you knew what I was going to say. Now, for us, or at least for me, I tend to prefer cooler climate wines. So I would probably prefer Bordeaux over California. I sometimes rail against California, even Washington, because where Washington wines grow is very warm. But you know what? Open-minded.
Right.
We're gonna see what we think.
Yeah, exactly. We got to check out the winemaker as well.
That's right.
It's going to change it up.
And we don't quite have a Bordeaux wine to compare it against. We have a Bordeaux-style blend from France. It's very close to Bordeaux. In fact, I bought it by accident because I thought it was a Bordeaux, and that's why I saved it for this episode. So we're going to see what we think.
Okay.
So on that, should we talk about the wines that I bought for this episode, Carmela?
Yes, we should.
Oh, okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, because by the way, I don't know if you do this in your family, but Carmela pays all the bills. So while I buy the wines...
No, they don't pay their bills.
No, Carmela pays the bills.
I don't pay their bills.
No, pays the bills in our home.
I know. It just sounds funny. You're like...
I was trying to go down a very different path, but I guess we're going there.
Keep going.
We're not paying your bills, people.
No.
You got to pay your own bills.
Right.
I'm sure they are.
I'm sure they are.
What I was trying to say is, you know how much I spend, even though I'm the one who spends it.
Do you know how much you spend?
I don't. Actually, I do because I record everything.
You do?
I do. I have a spreadsheet. I know exactly
on wine, but not on everything.
No,
I was going to say, wow.
But as usual, all the wines we have chosen for this episode are under $20, and all of them should be relatively easy to find because I bought 2 of them at Costco, and the third one I bought on wine.com.
Perfect.
And then in general, Bordeaux-style blends all over the place. Again, the tricky part is just because it says a red blend doesn't mean it's a Bordeaux-style blend.
Right.
And sometimes the bottles don't help you. But if you look on the bottle and it's Cabernet or Merlot heavy, that is a Bordeaux-style blend most likely.
Okay.
If it starts with Grenache or Syrah, different blend, those are not going to be found in a Bordeaux-style blend. The other thing that you can look for to know if it's a Bordeaux-style blend are the words meritage, we talked about this before, Meritage. Meritage is a American word for a Bordeaux-style blend, and claret or claret, Claret. If you see either of those, Bordeaux-style blend. Okay?
Okay.
Now, again, for this episode, I really wanted to try some red blends that were similar in composition, Bordeaux style, but came from different areas. So that's why we have a Napa Valley from Costco Kirkland, we have a Washington State wine, and we have a Bordeaux style blend from France. Okay, the first wine we're going to drink is the 2022 Kirkland Signature Napa Valley Red Blend, and that's the key challenger today. It's the challenger.
Woo!
The Costco has been coming out with this wine since 2014, when it was actually called a Meritage.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting? So, as noted on the Reverse Wine Snob website, it is cellared and bottled by DC Flint MW Selections, and until 2020, the wine was made by Glenn Hugo, that's a winemaker, but the label no longer says who makes it. They also say on the Reverse Wine Snob that the wine has been creeping up in sweetness, which to me is not, I don't love that. I don't love
Interesting.
that.
I wonder what they're doing differently.
I don't, it's a good question.
Something with those grapes, for sure.
I guess.
Changing.
Now, the wine blend, actually, what's interesting, on the bottle itself, it actually has the grapes that are in it, but this is much more Cabernet heavy. It's 58% Cabernet Sauvignon, 25% Merlot, 9% Malbec, 5% Cabernet Franc, and 3% Petit Verdot. And both the Reverse Wine Snob and Costco Wine Blog have rated it pretty well. Now, the notes on the bottle indicate that it has notes of oak and cedar, so it's clearly oaked. We would expect that. You would expect any Bordeaux-style blend to be oaked. But I really couldn't find much more else about this wine, so we're moving on to the next one.
Okay.
So the next one we're going to taste and review and see how it compares is the 2021 Market Vineyards Derivative Red Wine, which, again, I found at Costco. So I was like, let's see. They're kind of similarly priced. And let's see how they compare. This wine is from the Columbia Valley in the great state of Washington, where we are.
Whoa.
And it's specifically from the Goose Ridge Estates. So a single vineyard wine, that's important for some people because it indicates at least consistency, but often quality. But we'll see. This blend is also Cabernet heavy. It's 65% Cabernet Sauvignon, 19% Merlot, 11% Malbec, 4% Petit Verdot, and a little tiny 1% Cabernet Franc. They put a little drop in it. Like, hey, let's
still had to claim it though, huh?
What's interesting about this wine is a very similar blend to the Kirkland wine, using similar grapes, similar blend, but it's heavier in Cabernet and lighter in Merlot. And so while together, those two grapes make up 83% of the first wine and 84% of the second wine, the blend is different. So although that's the heavy piece of the wine or the heavy amount of the wine, the other parts of the blend should create. I'm really curious to see how different they taste. The winery says that the wines spend 27 months on oak.
Wow.
So more than 2 years. And 27% is new French oak, 48% new American oak, and 65% neutral oak, which adds up to more than 100%. So I'm very confused about how this calculation works. I don't know. But a little reminder for our friends out there in listening land, new oak is going to be stronger in flavor than neutral oak. Neutral oak is a fancy way of saying used oak. It's already, so it's been used before to make wine. And so a lot of those heavy oak flavors have been pulled out of it. Neutral oak doesn't create as much of an oak flavor as new oak, but it does add a mouthfeel. So it can get kind of a richer mouthfeel. And remember that American oak is stronger in flavor than French oak.
Okay.
The Market Vineyards wine also says it has 0 residual sugar, which means it's very dry. Now, what's interesting is the Reverse Wine Snob said that they had been increasing the sweetness of the Napa Valley wine. So that means there's more residual sugar in that one. So it'll be interesting to see, too, can we tell the difference with the residual sugars in the wine? And again, sugar, less sugar, more, it's considered dry.
Okay.
Unless we're talking about sparkling, and it's a different story.
And we don't want to confuse you.
So we're not going to go into it.
Okay.
The last wine we're going to drink is the 2019 Château Michel de Montaigne Bergerac Bordeaux blend.
Wow.
Which, as I said earlier, is not technically a Bordeaux wine because it's not produced technically within the Bordeaux region, but it shares many characteristics with Bordeaux wines and is right at the edge of Bordeaux. And when I say right at the edge of Bordeaux, I mean it. It is 6 miles from the village of Saint-Emilion, which is a super famous village in Bordeaux. And one of the websites I used for research noted that the terroir is identical to Right Bank Bordeaux. So while it's technically not a Bordeaux, it's going to be super-de-duper-de close. If it's nice tasting, it's going to be a steal because the price was good. Now, different from the other two wines.
Location.
That's right. If you can get the least, not the least, but a less expensive house on a very expensive street, that's good. That's what you want. Okay, so different from the other two wines, this wine is more Merlot heavy. And so it'll be interesting to see how it compares. It's 60% Merlot and 20% Cabernet Franc and 20% Cabernet Sauvignon. So while, again, it's 80% Merlot and Cabernet, which is very similar to the other two wines, the blend is flip-flopped, where those other two are Cabernet Sauvignon heavy, and this is Merlot heavy. So again, I'm super curious, and it doesn't have some of the Petit Verdot and the other bits and pieces in it. So I'm really curious to see how it compares. Okay. And then Wine Enthusiast gave it a 90 rating, but I couldn't find out a lot of other information on the wine. So we're just going to have to taste it and see what we think. And so if you have one of these wines or a Bordeaux-style blend or some red blend, you're not sure what the hell it is, drink
or
one.
Anything.
And it's a Thursday night or Saturday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, whatever night of the week it is. Drink along with us and you get participation points.
Woo.
All right. We'll be right back to try our first wine. Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our first wine. This is the Kirkland Signature Napa Valley Red Blend from Napa Valley, California. It's a 2022, $10.99 at Costco. It's 14.5% alcohol. And again, 58% Cabernet Sauvignon, 25% Merlot, 9% Malbec, 5% Cabernet Franc, and 3% Petit Verdot. And Costco Wine Blog gave it an 88, and Reverse Wine Snob gave it an 8. But before we smell it, what do you think of the color?
Very pretty. I think it's a very pretty wine.
It's pretty, almost opaque. It's dark in the middle, but it's kind of got ruby edges. It's very pretty. I think it's nice. And then the bottle, again, the bottle's kind of interesting. It's not a very pretty bottle, but it does tell you what grapes are in it.
Right. I mean, they are spelling it out.
Which
Sometimes
is
it's hard to find.
Yeah, so that's nice. That's a nice feature. Okay, what are you smelling?
Well, definitely smoke. Some cherry.
Yeah.
Definitely cherry. Maybe a darker cherry.
This smells super jammy to me.
Yeah, even
sweet
kind of like
jammy.
Like a fig jam.
Fig is good. Fig is good.
Something I can, even, or like a currant jam, is that such a thing? I don't know. Dried currants.
Made me cough. Along with that, I'm getting not just smoke, but I'm getting spice. Like I'm getting baking spices for sure.
Any in particular?
Cinnamony. To me, it's very cinnamony. Like I'm just getting a very cinnamon scent on
it. It's nice.
Actually, I'm a little worried that it smells too sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to... I mean, a lot of times I like how these wines smell, but I'm not super crazy about the taste.
Yeah. I'm with you. And this one...
He's closing his eyes. He's just so focused here.
Well, in addition to cherry, I am smelling like it's plummy to me as well.
What kind of a plum? Like an Italian
plum
or
dark? I think a dark plum. Okay, let's taste it and see what we think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super sweet.
Ooh,
it's really sweet. It's raisiny sweet.
Yeah, that's the current, I think, that I was maybe smelling on it. It's definitely like a sugared or dried type of fruit, like dried cranberry.
Very dry. I was thinking more of that, dried cranberry or dried. It's raisiny to me. It's dried. It's like a prune. It tastes like a prune. I said it was plummy.
Right.
I think it's more pruny.
Yeah, because it's kind of like caramelized fruit tasting.
Yeah, it's very jammy. It's very sweet. It's
Are you getting the spice on it?
Not as much. I mean, it's super sweet. I feel like I just opened up a can of jam and took a nice spoonful.
Okay.
But I don't want that.
You want to pour this on your toast?
No, I don't want to pour it on my toes.
How about for breakfast?
No, I don't want wine for breakfast.
Okay. What else?
Well, I'm trying to... It does actually, now that you mention it, I am getting some spice, smoke, cedar on the end. But it is over... I mean, this is a ripe, fruit-forward, jammy wine. It is not the type of wine that I generally like.
No, this is definitely like a meal.
Yeah,
a meal in a glass.
It's a cocktail wine. It really is.
Yeah.
But on that note, what food would you pair with this Kirkland signature Napa Valley Red Blend?
Ooh, I mean, it's so flavorful, like in a very, it's just...
But it's so sweet.
Yeah, but it's got so much, I just don't, we're so different than this, but I feel like you want to have something salty with it. Something,
okay.
I don't even know what that
I think you
means.
want like a cheeseburger.
Yeah, maybe it is a cheeseburger with cheese, like not... I guess that's what a cheeseburger is.
Or maybe like barbecue. I could see barbecued
like
ribs. Like barbecue baby back ribs.
Yeah.
Probably good with this.
With that, a nice
barbecue sauce
on it.
Yeah,
barbecue
A
ribs.
McRib. How about a McRib sandwich from McDonald's?
Oh my, I've never had one in all my days. And don't ask me how it's like, put together because I will not know. Is there a bun in the middle?
No, only the Big Mac has that.
Okay.
You go back to our early episodes, you'll realize that Carmela didn't know that. But anyway,
I didn't know.
McRib, nothing.
I'm not embarrassed by that either.
Some people love the McRib, and I don't find it very special. But
is there special sauce on it?
There is a special barbecue sauce on it. But I think, go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking, I am envisioning this with like a rib dinner with like
mashed
potatoes, coleslaw. I think you need to have some big flavors with a type of wine like this.
Yeah, and maybe some vinegary stuff just to cut through the sweetness.
Right. Something, a little tang in that barbecue sauce would be nice.
I'm with you. Okay, so let's rate this wine. As a reminder, on our rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10. We don't do half points, only whole points. And 7 and above means we're going to buy it. 4 or below means we're probably going to pour it down the sink. And a 5 or 6 means we drink it and we'll finish it, but we're probably not going to buy it.
Okay.
This is a tough one for me because I do think there are people that love this kind of wine.
Well, and besides that, I'm a loyal Kirkland lover.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Kirkland. I want to like this.
I want to like it too. What rating are you going to give it?
I'm probably going to give it a 5. I mean, 5 or 6. I'm not going to buy this.
Would you finish it? If
but I kind of, the hard thing, and again, this is just right now, like in real time. Part of me is like, I think other people might enjoy this. People who like these wines. So I am like, maybe I would buy it.
Yeah. So here's my deal. If you're talking about me, it's all about me.
I know.
I don't like it. I'm giving it a 4.
Oof.
I don't think it's a very good wine.
Okay.
But I think there are people who really enjoy these types of wines. This is actually a very California style wine, but it's actually not as like astringent. It's less actually astringent or alcohol-y than I thought it would be, even for a 14.5% wine. Mm-hmm. And so I think there are a lot of people who would really enjoy this wine. If you like a fruity, fruit bomb, Cabernet Sauvignon type of wine, I think you're going to like this one.
And we have friends that do like this wine.
Totally. But for me, I would never buy this wine. I would only serve this wine in very special circumstances. Like I know I'm going to have a big party and there are people that just love these kind of fruity Cabernet blends or Bordeaux blends. That's the only reason I would ever buy it, but I think I can find better wines.
So are you going to come up with one score though?
I'm giving it a 4.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm giving it a 4. I don't think it's a very good wine.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah, that'll balance it out. But I think we can do
4,
better.
you're not going to finish it.
No, I would. This wine is not going to touch my lips again. It's done. Like I'm done with it.
Buddy.
And if I was served this someplace, I'd be like, oh God, I don't know if I can finish it.
Yeah. See, that's how I'm feeling. I'm not really sure I would finish it. But I gave it a 5.
No, that's fair. Give it a 5. Okay. We're going to take a break and we're going to try our next wine.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our second wine. This is the Market Vineyards Derivative Red Wine. It's kind of a pretty bottle. It's from Columbia Valley, Washington. It's a 2021, $16.99 at Costco. The alcohol I got right. It was 13.8%. 65% Cabernet Sauvignon, 19% Merlot, 11% Malbec, 4% Petit Verdot, that's hard to say actually, and 1% Cabernet Franc. And so, Carmela, let's look at the color. What do you think of the color?
It's another pretty wine. These are pretty wines.
It's similar to the last one. I would say it's a little more translucent.
Yeah.
But it's more consistent in color, and it almost
shiny.
It's shiny, but it almost has a brownish tint to it.
Oh, maybe
like it's
on the
red,
edges.
But it's almost like brownish tint on it. Don't you see that?
A little bit, yeah.
Kind of a hue on the end of brown.
Oh, hue, huh?
Well, let's smell it.
I'm having a little hard time with this one.
Ooh, I'm getting like spice, like cinnamon again, some baking spices, and like a little bit of cherry and some rose. I feel like a little bit of rose. Maybe it's flowery. I'm getting a little floweriness on it.
Yeah, a little bit of potpourri on it. A little bit of dried flower, I think. You know,
I like that.
like almost like those little potpourri bags that you would have in somebody's closet or drawer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of getting. I'm not getting as much fruit.
I'm definitely getting cherry on it, but like almost a little, maybe with a little chocolate, like a chocolate cordial.
Cacao.
Yeah, like a cherry cordial.
Ooh, so sometimes these wines, because they're so sweet and that fruit comes right away. Sometimes I feel it is like the center with the really syrupy, not maple syrup, but the cherry syrup in the middle of the chocolate.
I'm with you. And I'm getting like cedar, smoke, wood on it.
A little bit of incense.
Ooh, that's good.
You have been burning a lot of incense lately.
I feel like these wines are making me cough. A little bit of black pepper and maybe a skosh of licorice.
Okay.
But I like the smell a lot.
Black or red licorice?
Black.
Yeah.
I'm thinking black.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's taste it.
Okay.
It's nice. It's
smoother for sure.
Smoother. It's soft. It's kind of a soft wine, which actually is interesting because a lot of times Washington State wines are not terribly soft. To me, it's nice. And what's interesting is that it actually has less Merlot than the last one and more Cabernet Sauvignon, but I feel like it's softer. Maybe it's that Malbec. I don't know. I think it's a nice fruit flavor. It is a lot of tannins, and it's sort of cherry, but it's like, I don't think it's quite cherry. Like what?
I don't know. I haven't really been able to put my finger on the fruit. I know you were saying cherry. Yeah.
It's grapey.
It's kind of grapey. Yeah. Almost like a grape juice.
Yeah.
You know, not because it's not super alcohol-y. I mean, there is some of that, but it's kind of a grape juice almost.
But I'm kind of liking it. I kind of like it. Yeah. I think maybe it's in comparison to the last one. It's just that Kirkland wasn't very good, but it's a nice, like supple wine. It's not a punch you in the face wine.
Yeah, it's a little more approachable.
Super approachable. It's very drinkable.
Ooh.
What food would you have with this?
Oh, well, I think you don't want to go, you don't need to go as heavy as like a big cheeseburger.
No, but I think a nice steak, like a rare, medium rare steak, really nice with this.
A nice tender steak, something, it's not like ribs. It's going to be just a simple version of a steak. Yeah,
where you actually want to taste the meat and then you have something nice to complement it. I think this wine would complement red meat super well. I'm actually quite impressed with this wine. I don't think it's not the most like complex, like whatever, but to me it has a kind of the some of the aspects of it, the softness of it, the roundness of it, the not overly sweet. It has these aspects of complexity that I really like. It sounds nerdy, but I'm really enjoying it.
Well, and I think too, this would be more of a crowd pleaser. Like this would satisfy a lot of people's wine tastes.
And I wouldn't feel bad about bringing this to a dinner party or having this at a
and it is kind of a cool bottle. I mean, it's a cool bottle. You know, it works as a gift. It's a gifty kind of looking bottle.
Yeah.
What are you going to give it?
I'm giving it at least a 7. And I'm wondering if I'm going to give it an 8. Wow. Because it's good. It's not like it's not like knocking my socks off, but it's good. Like it's a good, solid wine. So I'm going to give it a 7. I'm giving it a 7.
Okay. Well, okay. So, this is just not typically what I would drink myself.
But if you had to have a red wine.
For sure, I would buy this for someone or as an event wine.
Okay.
I don't know if we'd have it for or I would choose. I wouldn't, if you were saying, oh, we're having these people over, do you want to have this wine? I don't know if I would say that, but I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. This is a wine too, like maybe it's a little bit pricey, $16.99, but it's not bad. Like, I feel like this is a wine like you could buy a lot of and really enjoy this on a regular basis. It feels like a good weeknight wine. Like it's a good wine. It's a good wine. I like it.
A good Thursday night wine.
Good Thursday night wine. Okay. We're going to take a break and we're going to try our last wine. Okay, and we are ready to taste our last wine. This is the Château Michel de Montaigne Bergerac Bordeaux blend. It's from Bergerac, France. It's a 2019. It was $15.99 at wine.com, 14.5% alcohol, 60% Merlot, 20% Cabernet Franc, and 20% Cabernet Sauvignon. And wine enthusiast and Wilfred Wong from wine.com gave it a 90, but let's look at the color first. To me, you can tell maybe that this is more Merlot based because it's deeper. It's opaque. It's purpley. It's very purpley.
Yeah.
And the edges are a little ruby, but they're kind of more like purple. It looks like wine. Yeah.
But it is funny enough. There's a lot of little bubbles.
There is bubble.
I don't know if there's going to be a little bit of effervescent on this or what, but I know I'm not certain about the smell.
I'm a little worried this might be corked.
Uh-oh. I know. My first thought was earth. When I first smelled it,
now
which
remember,
is that could be a smell, but
they do say earth in a glass.
Yeah, so I'm getting that, but I'm not sure if it's a little bit like basement-y.
Yeah, it's a little basement-y. I'm a little worried that I don't know.
It's not it's not coming through terribly like that, but it's
no. I think it's more on the swirl. I think the swirl is bringing out like the mushroomy kind of smell and the clay and the earth.
Yeah,
because I think on the scent, it's still a little funky, but it's like I'm getting a little bit of plum.
I know, and a little bit of dark cherry. There's a little bit of almost like an overripe cherry too, A little squishy cherry.
Yeah, I agree. It just smells older than it should be. I mean, it's 2019.
Just not terribly fresh.
Not at all. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
A little bit of vegetable on it too.
A little vegetable. So
I'm not sure again if that is, if it's just part of the makeup of the wine or
maybe.
What.
I'm getting pepper.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a hot pepper too, like a cayenne, like black pepper, but also like a cayenne kind of pepper.
Okay.
But it's like it's a little like not super, not a great bouquet, I would say.
No.
Well, let's try it.
Okay.
It's definitely not corked.
Ooh.
But it has a funky. It's not corked.
It's kind of tangy. There's a real, not bitterness, like almost a little bit sour.
Yeah, almost a little stale too.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it slightly has too much oxygen on it, but it's not like we didn't open it early or anything.
No. They're all corks, by the way.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm getting again like kind of a pruny kind of taste, some like pepper and spice, but I do wonder if there's something a little bit wrong with this bottle because it just doesn't have any vibrancy. It's not.
Yeah, it's pretty kind of dull.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'm kind of getting because of this weird sourness is almost like pomegranate. I don't know why. I mean, because those have a kind of a tang, and maybe I'm kind of searching for the fruit that I'm not really getting on the taste.
Yeah.
And pomegranate I like a pomegranate, but it has a little bit more of a sour edge to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just like, it's super tannic.
Yeah.
Very tannic. Mm-hmm. It doesn't taste like it has a lot going on. It's not unpleasant. It's just kind of like, meh.
Yeah.
And so I wonder a couple of things, honestly. Is it too young? And or should have been opened longer? Because we just opened it. And I kind of feel like maybe it just needs a little bit of legs and some breathing room to really kind of come to life a little bit. Because it's just so subdued. It seems unusually subdued.
It's kind of flat, almost like a little flat or thin.
So I just don't think it's opened up. And so that sounds stupid. Like, do we not know what we're tasting? But I think sometimes you can tell that a wine is just like, it's either not quite ready yet, or just I should have decanted it and let it aerate and it probably would be 5 times better than it is right now. Because I think it has nice characteristics. I mean, you keep talking about it being like kind of sour, but I'm not sure I find it sour as much as it's just like, it's a little austere. It's not, it's just not jammy and fruity.
No. It's a little thin. What would you eat with it?
I think it's a meat wine. It's a red meat wine.
Yeah.
It's,
I
steak,
think so.
that kind of stuff. Maybe you could have a stew with it.
Ooh,
I think it needs
like
food. I mean, this is one of the other things. A lot of times European wines, you want to have them with food. They're really meant to have with food.
I think this would be better with food.
Yeah. I'm not fully convinced this bottle is right. Again, I don't think it's corked, but it might be oxygenated a little bit. It's just...
And again, it could, like you said, it could be a little young and it could need some time.
Yeah. So what rating are you going to give this one?
Well, I think I'm going to probably, I think I'd probably say a 5.
Yeah, I'm a 5 as well. It's not like horrible. I kind of want to taste it after a couple hours, and maybe I change my mind. And so maybe this is an unfair rating that we're giving it, but I'm with you. It's a 5. I'm not going to pour it down the sink.
No.
I want to try it.
I wouldn't question it. Like if somebody served it to me, I wouldn't be like,
no.
Ooh, what's wrong? I'm not drinking this. I would finish it, and I would, but... it would be like looking for something else.
Yeah, it's not, to me, it's like on the edge of being really interesting, but it's just so flabby and flat that it just doesn't have much going on. So I think 5 is fair at this point. I mean, I'd drink it if we were at a dinner party and people were serving, I'd drink it. I wouldn't pour it down the sink. I'd be fine with it. I would totally drink it. But which of these 2 are you finishing tonight?
3.
I'm sorry, which of these 3? I'm so used to us doing 2. Which of these 3?
I would definitely choose the Market.
The Market Vineyards? Yeah. I would as well. I'm going with that one. Okay. And who do you think won? Did Costco, Kirkland, did it win the challenge?
I can't hardly even muster up enough courage to say it, but I don't.
It got its butt kicked. But here's the funny thing is you gave both this wine and that wine a 5, but they're not the same 5.
No, they're really not. They're not. Like this one I'm just kind of unimpressed with. Whereas the other one I was like, ooh, I don't really like it.
Yeah, but you still give it a 5. I feel like you're a high grader. I feel like you're very sensitive to the grading system.
I feel bad for the wine.
I agree.
They have feelings. No, they don't. But
they don't.
I don't know. I guess sometimes it's just in the moment. Like I almost need to taste them all and then rate them, but that's not really fair either. But
agree. Okay, well, let's talk about the taste profiles expected from Bordeaux-style blends. Bordeaux reds are medium to full-bodied with bold aromas of blackcurrant, plums, and earthiness like smelling wet soil or pencil lead. I think that's what we were getting out of this last wine. Depending on the quality, vintage, and what region within Bordeaux the wine is from, fruit flavors range from tart fruit to sweeter ripe fruit. I think we're getting that. Yeah. We're getting tartness, earthiness. So I think that's what we're getting. And maybe it's just we're not used to it. And again, I think it needs more time on this last one. The Kirkland signature, the winery said concentrated notes of black cherry and cassis, which is blackcurrant, supported by silky tannins and spice rack notes of oak and cedar, finishing with velvety notes of rich plum. We're getting plum and we're getting black cherry. Costco wine blog, it pours medium ruby in the glass, dark berry fruit, spice and earthy on the nose. Flavors are black cherry, blackberry, plum. Blackberry we didn't get. And they come together nicely, dusty and dry, maybe a little on the quick side. They didn't talk anything about sweet.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure I fully agree with their rating. Market Vineyards, the winery says rich notes of dark chocolate covered cherries.
Okay.
Burst from the glass is exactly what I said. Comprised of some of our best varietals, this wine imparts gorgeous soft floral notes. Didn't I say flowers?
Yeah, for sure. Lots of it.
Balanced
Rose,
with deep,
you were saying too.
Yeah, deep smoky characteristics. You got smoke, I think. Lush and bright. Terrific acid balance. Wine Stalker says the nose has a bright red berry profile with some smoke and cedar, lingering threat of mocha. We're getting that.
Ooh, a threat.
Is interesting.
Wow.
It's
I like a mocha threat.
It's light bodied for a Cabernet blend. I said this. I think we were saying that. Bright acidity, sweet tannin. High acidity brings bright and tart cherries. blackberries, black coffee, and cola. Rather creamy. The Château Michel, the winery says a beautiful black dress in the lively reflections reveals a nose to the notes of red berries, which will evolve towards black fruits. This freshness in the mouth his freshness in the mouth expresses himself by its flexibility in the aromas of strawberry and black currant. I don't know. Finishing on notes of licorice and chocolate.
Okay.
With melted tannins. Wilfred Wong said this wine excels with aromas and flavors of black fruit, licorice, and a mix of berry notes. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, again, I think this last one we're grading pretty harshly because I think, one, I should have decanted it and opened it. And two, I think it could go another 5 years and maybe it would taste much different.
I wonder.
So, friends.
How many did you get of this? How many bottles?
One.
Okay.
One. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine. What are you going to do?
No, I think that was fun.
It was fun. Good to taste different ones. And I do think it's kind of important to try different varieties. Don't think that one Bordeaux-style blend is going to be the same as the others. And I think it's good to mix up New World and Old World wines. I think that's important.
Right. And if you like this type of wine, you should change it up. You shouldn't just have your favorite one.
And maybe you'll find I really still like this one, but I tried this other one. I really liked it.
Right.
So I think that's always fun to do. Well, Carmela, it's time for us to go. But before we do, we want to thank you very much for listening to us. And if you haven't done so yet, now would be a great time to follow or subscribe to our podcast and leave us a nice rating and review on our website or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or other podcast app. It's an awesome and free way to support us. We'd also love to hear from you about a wine you'd like us to taste and review. You can leave a message for us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can join our email newsletter, and if you missed it, again, I'll send it to you so you can email me at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com and tell us some things you want us to do and maybe don't want us to do. And with that, we're going to sign off. So thank you again. And we'll see you next time. And like we like to say, life is short, so stop drinking shitty wine. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And the happy ending at the end of our story. Always think too much. Always drink too much. Always pray too much. Always play too much. And when I'm with you too much, I fall in love too much. And when I'm away too much,